There is a woman in a small fish market town outside Naha, Okinawa, who has eaten lunch at the same wooden table for 40 years. Rice, a little grilled fish, something green, something purple, something fermented. She stops eating while there's still a bit of food on the plate, not because she's dieting, because she was taught as a small child to stop there. She is 84. Her blood pressure is better than most 50-year-olds in the West. She has never counted a calorie in her life. Now picture the version of this story you actually recognize. Someone back home, doing everything right, reading labels, buying the healthy granola bar, skipping breakfast to save calories, then white-knuckling it until 3 p.m., then eating half a bag of something crunchy standing up at the counter, straight from the bag, barely tasting it. Still not losing the weight, still tired, still confused about what they're doing wrong. Here's the uncomfortable possibility. They were never doing anything wrong. They were just eating 7 things, in 7 ways, that traditional Japanese eating quietly avoids. Not through willpower, but through habits so old nobody there even thinks of them as habits. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what those 7 things are, why the body responds to them the way it does, and the one small shift for each that costs nothing and takes less than a minute to start. Number 4 is the one almost nobody expects. Number 6 is the one that stings a little. First, let's clear something out of the way. The popular belief is that weight and energy come down to a math equation: calories in, calories out, discipline versus laziness. And for a lot of people, especially past 40, that equation quietly stops explaining what's happening in their body. Not because they aren't trying, because the equation is missing a variable. Not just what you eat, but how much, how fast, and in what state your nervous system is in while you eat it. That's the thread running through every point on this list. Number 1. The sugary drink, sitting in the cup holder, in the fridge, on the desk, the one you don't even think of as food. In traditional Japanese eating, sweet beverages, the way the West drinks them, are simply not part of the daily rhythm. Tea, usually unsweetened, is the default. Here's the mechanism researchers point to. Liquid sugar spikes blood glucose fast, and unlike food, it doesn't trigger the same fullness signals. You can drink 300 calories and still feel hungry 10 minutes later. Neuroscientist Andrew Huberman has talked about how quickly and reliably sugary drinks move dopamine, which is part of why they're so easy to reach for again and again without registering as a choice. The shift: swap 1 sugary drink a day for tea, even just 1. Not all of them, just 1. Notice that it's easier than you think. That small win matters because it's about to make habit number 2 easier to believe. Number 2. The snack eaten in front of a screen. Not the snack itself, the not noticing. Traditional Japanese meals, even simple ones, are eaten facing the food, often in a moment of quiet. There's a word for that kind of undistracted attention: seijaku, stillness. Not silence for its own sake, attention. Researcher Brian Wansink's much-discussed work on mindless eating found that distracted eaters simply eat more without registering it, because the brain needs to actually witness a meal to log it as eaten. Here's how it feels from the inside. You finish the bag and you're not sure where it went. That's not you lacking discipline. That's a meal your brain never filed away. The shift: 1 meal a day, no screen, just the food and the room. Number 3. The plate loaded edge to edge, because more felt like more value. There's a phrase from Okinawa that's become well known even outside Japan: hara hachi bu, eat until you're about 80% full. Researchers studying Okinawan centenarians, including the long-running Okinawa Centenarian Study, have pointed to this practice as one thread connecting a population with notably low rates of the diseases that shorten life elsewhere. It isn't a diet rule. It's a stopping point, decided in advance, before the meal starts pulling you along. The physiology is straightforward. It takes your stomach roughly 20 minutes to tell your brain it's full, so eating too stuffed nearly guarantees you've overshot. Slow down here. That 20-minute gap is the whole story. Most of what we call a lack of self-control is just a timing problem. The shift: put the fork down at 4/5 full and wait 5 minutes before deciding if you're still hungry. Number 4, and this is the one that surprises people. It isn't a food at all. It's the size of the red meat portion as a daily, default thing, rather than an occasional one. Traditional washoku, the everyday pattern of Japanese home cooking, is built around fish, soy, rice, vegetables, and small amounts of meat used almost like a seasoning rather than the center of the plate. This isn't a moral position on meat, it's a structural one. The meal is built around plants and the sea first, and everything else fills in around that shape. Researchers who study the traditional Japanese diet, including work referenced by Blue Zone's researcher Dan Buettner, have pointed to this plant and fish-forward pattern, alongside fermented soy foods, as one of the more consistent threads in populations with unusually long health spans. The shift. On your next grocery trip, make fish or beans the center of one dinner, and let meat sit at the edge of the plate instead of the middle. Number 5. The deep-fried, heavy meal treated as a normal Tuesday rather than an occasional pleasure. Tempura exists in Japan. Fried food isn't foreign there. What's different is frequency and portion. It's a treat, not a default. Here's the mechanism. Heavy, fat, and sugar-dense meals eaten often, rather than occasionally, are linked in circadian research, including work associated with Salk Institute researcher Sachin Panda, to disruption of the body's metabolic clock, the internal rhythm that governs when your body is primed to process food efficiently and when it isn't. Eating that way once in a while is a pleasure. Eating that way by default is asking a clock that wants a rhythm to run without one. The shift. Keep the fried, heavy meal. Just let it stay a once-in-a-while thing again. Number 6, and this one might sting a little. Eating alone, standing up, rushed, as the norm rather than the exception. There's a concept called ma, the deliberate pause, the gap between things that gives them meaning. A traditional Japanese meal has a small ma built in. Sitting down, a beat before eating begins, sometimes a quiet phrase before the first bite. It sounds small. It changes the nervous system's state before food ever enters it. Eating while rushed and stressed keeps the body in a mild, sympathetic fight-or-flight state, and digestion, insulin sensitivity, and the process of registering fullness all work better from a calmer state. That's not folk wisdom. It's basic autonomic physiology. You already know this in your body. Think about the last meal you actually enjoyed versus the one you don't even remember eating. The shift. 1 full minute, seated, before the first bite of your next meal. Nothing else, just the pause. Number 7. Dessert, sweets, and packaged treats as an everyday, expected part of the day, rather than a seasonal or occasional pleasure. Traditional Japanese sweets, wagashi, are often tied to the season, the moment, sometimes a specific week of the year. There's a word, mottainai, that carries a sense of not wasting or overusing something good until it loses its meaning. Treated every day, a treat stops being one. Psychiatrist Anna Lemke's work on the brain's reward system describes how constant, low-effort access to sweet, easy pleasure quietly raises the bar for what registers as satisfying at all. So the treat you have daily gives you less than the treat you have occasionally, even though it's the exact same food. The shift. Keep the treat. Just let a few days pass between having it, and notice if it starts tasting like something again. So here's the whole picture, in one breath. Tea instead of the sugary drink, at least once a day. 1 undistracted meal, stopping at 4/5 full and waiting 5 minutes. Fish and plants at the center of the plate instead of the edge. The fried, heavy meal kept occasional instead of routine. 1 full minute of stillness before the first bite. And the treat, spaced out until it means something again. None of it costs anything. None of it requires a program, an app, or a single dollar spent. It's not about eating less. It's about eating with a rhythm your body already knows how to use, if you let it. That woman at her wooden table in Okinawa was never doing anything extraordinary. She was just never taught to eat any other way. The stubborn tiredness, the stalled wait, the sense that you're failing at something everyone else finds easy. None of that was ever about willpower. It was about rhythm, portion, and attention, quietly stripped out of ordinary meals by the whole culture around us. This isn't a prescription, it's a perspective. Tonight, pick one dinner and put the fish or the beans in the center of the plate and the meat at the edge. That's the whole assignment. If this shifted something for you, consider staying with the channel. We walk through one of these quiet, almost free reframes every week, and I'd genuinely like to know, which of the 7 are you starting with tonight?